Do I want it that high? Yes, I do. It is. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Hi, everybody. I am Kirsten Peck. Let me see if I can get my glasses to quit being so weird. I don't know. Hello, everybody. I am Kirsten Peck. I am a semi-retired high school English and civics teacher, world history, government, English literature, composition, all kinds of things I used to teach in high school. And I sort of ran away to have my best life. I figured out how to do that. And it's about writing books and thinking big problem solution kinds of things, is what I'm doing in my best life. And as part of that, I have discovered the smallest little piece of information that I'm trying to get out to the world, because I believe we are in the middle of a huge political betrayal. I believe that the President of the United States, yes, the one and only President, Donald J. Trump, is betraying everyone. I believe that he is betraying his voters, his own base, his own friends, and people that have stood up with him. And as the policies go through and as the days march on, he has been betraying his loyal, faithful people. And I saw this coming. So I wrote the book. Let me see if I put my hands on it. Where's the book? Sorry. Here's the book. Here's the book. It's a question. We have to figure this out. So in the book, um, your political identity, I believe, has been manipulated and tied to someone who did not really have your best advantage in his heart. And I'm sorry that that happened. And it reminds me of like my girlfriend who ran off with this guy who promised her the world. And of course, it didn't go that way. He betrayed her, he hurt her really badly. And then that's hard because I was her friend and saw it coming. And yet, I had to hold her hand and kind of get her back to being strong and back to feeling like she could figure out stuff. And it really shook her whole identity. And so I think that that's really what's happening. And so, when he turned, so I wrote the book when he, at about 100 days in, when Elon Musk was running Doge, and Trump and Elon thought he was going to get these subsidies for his cars. And then Trump was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. And Elon thought he was getting subsidies for his SpaceX stuff. And Trump was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that either. And Elon went off on his whole Epstein thing. So if you think back and you look at that pattern of someone who was in his best, tightest buddies, and then he turns on him and is like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. So the thing that I get at is that when we do a values clarification in my high school classroom, and really it's about when we read novels and we read stories or we read about biographies and we read about real life people that exist, and you talk about their character traits and you talk about their personalities and you talk about their values. And yes, I believe that respect and truth are the foundations of our American democracy, and that the whole idea that we want to live together in peace is pretty much the American dream, and that that's based on it having respect and truth. And the due process of court is based on the ability to have the truth mean something and have a process to follow that judges that. So I'm here tonight we're talking about your political identity and what would you do if it's like my girlfriend and her stupid boyfriend ditched her because he was manipulating and he was all about him to begin with. He was just playing along. So my friend, again, I'm like, sweetheart, let's get back to this respecting ourselves. Let's start this with ourselves first. Because as I put here on my chart, I have my magic wand. As I put here on my chart, respect with ourselves. Yeah, respecting ourselves. We deserve the best. We deserve people who are honorable in our lives. We have to be it to have it, so then we have to put it out there. And as I was explaining earlier, if you hold back respect and say somebody has to earn it, then aren't you being judgmental? And aren't you being difficult? And aren't you putting up that wall and that cloak of difficulty? And especially with it as it relates to yourself. You were born with respect. I think you should keep it. So to ourself here, yes, give respect to yourself. And the same thing with the truth. If you're not being honest with yourself, if you're not really honoring your inner voice and your inner beliefs and your compass here with truth, your truth, if you're like, yeah, that's all right. Yeah, well, it's just a little lie. It's just a little that it's a slippery slope. If you start one little lie, it's going to become a bunch of them. And so the why do we do this? It's because it's going to help you have direction, have focus, have some balance in here to hold on to it. Because when the world is going up and down and crazy, it's good to have this balance. And that it's a foundational, this is something at the core, at the very beginnings. So I want to touch on this one first and explain again why we have to start with the stop, focus, center, use that compass to really figure out where are you? Because we're running around. And so if this is a betrayal, if this is if again, in this whirlwind that I'm trying to help problem solve. Okay. So I have a process. I was a high school teacher, as I've mentioned, and actually this is the Nobel Peace Institute's guidebook that I picked up on vacation a few months ago. And the guidebook was like the instructions for the teacher to run the class, which I knew how to do because I run it in my classroom. And it's about the foundations and the heroic thinking. This is heroic. You have to be brave. You have to have courage. And as I say here, if you do it with yourself, then you've got to start doing it with other people. And this starts to multiply. So you're going to start getting positive energy going and you're starting to get good stuff happening because you are like a superhero gathering your superpowers, right? Right. So the superpower stuff and the hero thinking and the traditions. So in Stoic classrooms and in this most traditional debate format, which is as old as time, thousands of years old. Let me slide this around. I can get this one here. Yes. And I have to slide around a little bit here. Yes. My super low tech. Here I am, super low tech. Will it come in? I'll put these in the show notes. Okay. Here, this is the red. We're back to the classical information, the classical study. I'm not trying anything too slick on you guys. Let me see if I can get that glare off the thing. Maybe. I don't know. No. I don't know. My crazy classroom. But here's where, yeah, we got to see. Man. Okay. This is when, as I'm doing this, I'm going to make a little commercial because I need to have subscribers, subscribe, follow along. But really, I need someone with tech support, with design skills, with video editing skills, because this is serious stuff and it's got to get out. I've got to figure this out. So I'm putting on my superpowers. I'm getting this stuff set up. I'm like, I am a retired old high school teacher going old school. I ran away from my high school because I didn't want to go online. I like talking to people and close to close stuff. And yes, I like the old things because they work. They've been proven, centuries have proven this. Okay. So it takes out the emotion, it takes out the fear, it takes out those anxieties. Okay. And that yeah, people are running down this road of like, what do I do? What do I do? And that it's easy to just go with the flow. And I think that's how he got so many people to follow him. Because he was like, I'll take care of you. And when people are hurting and someone says they're going to take care of you, you want that to happen. So yeah, you believe them. But now it's not. And if your values, if you're sitting here and you're starting to search the regret words and you're starting to have this moral values kind of question, we can figure this out. In fact, this now is the next step. Okay. So I did an episode a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago, the introductory to this Stoic classroom. This is analysis in its most basic kind of a way. And I am using a current event of something that has happened. I am using facts that can be proven as true. They are real events, they are real things that happened. And so the issue here is the president betraying you, MAGA voters? Is he betraying me? Is he betraying everybody? The whole entire American dream, I believe, is built on respect and truth, and it's being destroyed, I think. So let's talk about this. Okay. So in this, I'm asking you to just consider the facts. Okay. And the topic that I want to talk about is related to faith, which is one of the most difficult topics for people to be able to talk about. It's super emotional. And yet I want us to just stay on the facts. You can put your emotions at the end. Trust me, when we get down here, you'll have your emotion time. But let's start with the facts. Okay? So, the event, only the facts. President Trump has gotten into a bit of an argument with Pope Leo. The argument is about the war. I'm not going to talk about the war. That's what we talked about before. But I'm going to go a little deeper this time because the topic is faith. And the value is faith. It's hard. It's complicated. And the exploring these fact events, I'm exploring these facts. He tweeted back and forth between the Pope and him. Those are facts. He also has been posting his own pictures of himself in questionable religious sorts of pictures. And again, doing things that are not necessarily a faith practice. So the nature of this, these are just facts so far. The nature of it that we're talking about, is this a big deal? I'm going to say, yeah, this is pretty epic. I think this is pretty darn big deal. And I think it's a really, really, really big deal because he's got all the different churches basically lining up to fight against each other. So the Pope is Catholic. The president is, I don't know, evangelical something or other. I don't know. He says Christian. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm not particularly religious, so I'm in the none category of this. But he's got synagogues involved. He's got mosques involved. He's got shrines involved around the world. All sorts of religious places are involved with this. And the fact, let me get back to the nature. See again, the nature. You can fact check. All different kinds of religions are in this argument. And I want to do a values check. Like I said, it's getting complicated. So we're going to have to stop and let's put that respect on, put that truth on. And I want to kind of take a little side trick here. I'm going to just check this. I think, can we check on a common bond? Do we both have a concern about our kids and that we want to figure this out for our kids and our legacy and our genealogy of the future generations? Kind of a time check on this. It's also a power booster, because it's not only, when I'm going to ask you to the quality question, not only is it respect and truth, but it's about your kids. And it's about your faith, yourself, your faith at this point when we get to the quality. So I would, if we were doing this with a group of people, I go around the room and I kind of say, does anybody object to including our kids in this discussion of what we're trying to evaluate? And if I don't have people that want to argue about why that's not a thing, maybe they don't have kids, or maybe they're old and they never had kids, or I don't know, but respect people to share their ideas. Okay. See the process. Okay. And this quality here is about your satisfaction of his promises. This is what you're satisfied. Is he doing what he said he was going to do? Because that's this quality. So the facts, you can check the social media posts. In fact, they've been ongoing all weekend. He just keeps putting that stuff out. Is that respect? Is that your generations? Is that your faith? The facts, our U.S. Constitution guarantees the rights of all religions, all of them, and even none of them. So our founding principle in here, and this is why I pulled this, is because it's pretty straightforward. You can't fight one religion against the other. We all belong together. We all respect each other. You worship in your house, I'll worship in mine. That's what's America. And so your opinion here, now let me get to this one. Let me even pull this one on you. Faith people, your opinions. Yeah, what would Jesus do? What does the book say? Again, I'm deferring to you because it's time for your opinion. Here's my action I'm going to propose in this analysis. You be the judge. I just want you to propose an action. I'm here Tuesday nights running this. I'm getting it made into videos. It'll be a course so that you can run through the whole thing yourself. Decide on your own. Practice as we go through this. The book's on Amazon. Go get the book right now. Start talking to me. We're bringing this together. I've had a couple people in my daytime streams that there's a guy that keeps asking me funny questions because he's trying to figure it out. And I'm trying to show that this is a safe place to go through the process, to see the tools in action, and to really learn it, because your identity, you joined MAGA because you wanted to have a voice in politics. You wanted to be participating, and I want you to be participating. I want everybody to participate. That's the whole point. So we have to break through those myths. We have to get those assumptions out of our heads. We have to separate all this stuff. And I hope that this station and that this process can help you see a more balanced way to figure something out, and take your emotions out of it and put your emotions aside and figure some really big things out a little bit at a time. So if you've gotten this far with me, and as the MAGA compass says here, it's a little bit every time. If you think I'm totally crazy, and yes, you love what he's doing, and yes, you think his faith is the idea and the way to go, then carry on. Good luck, carry on. I wish you the best. Godspeed, as they say. Good luck. Seriously. Because where the rest of us are trying to figure this out. And according to the real long-term, the big, serious long-term stuff, we can't fit one side against the other. We tried that once in the Civil War, and I really don't want to do it again. And so for the GOP and for you Republicans that are trying to figure out, what do I do? Your political identity was run amok with this MAGA stuff. It's about getting the new tribe, getting it realigned, getting it back to being values, real solid values, respect, truth. I just added legacy, family, legacy, and I'm going to add faith. Even if whatever your faith is, I don't care what your faith is, you've got faith. It's gratitude. And that is the centering in your gratitude. I know it's fun. It's serious. So again, I need tech help. I need sponsors that are like gonna really pick this up and be like, hot diggity, I got it. I'm tracking down some people. I've started the publicity stunt tour of this because it's a huge piece of information, huge situation. And yet it's this one little thing. It's a reading standard number 6. So my teachers, reading standard number 6, talk to me. Hey, especially MAGA followers, your political identity, if you are a MAGA follower and you teach school, high school especially, then you totally know what I'm talking about. Reading standard number 6, and then mix in number 8. Okay, don't hit the computer. I get excited. Okay, love you. Thank you for checking this out. Subscribe, share, all this stuff. This is a huge breakthrough time. We got this. Happy June. It's summer. Yeah, you got that stuff coming up, and the 4th of July. This is huge. Love you. Okay, I got to go. Bye. Okay, bye.